Alright, yeah! Thank God for fantasy football. I'm Buster Brown, and the show, it's called Redemption Rehab. And if you tuned in today, it's for one reason. It's because you want to start winning championships in fantasy football. Today, we're here on our website, fantasyfootballredemptionrehab.com. And we're talking about the rookies that will impact fantasy football in the 2020 NFL season. The NFL draft is over. The rookies finally know where they're going to be playing football this year. We're going to show you the rookies you should be looking at this year and the ones you should be taking a look at for years to come. If you want to win championships in fantasy football, one of the main keys is to know who's coming into the league at every position. Running back, wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end. Doesn't matter. They're all important and they all score points in fantasy football. So buckle up, get out your popcorn, and let's head over to the chalkboard
and check out the facts.
Yeah, here we are talking about our top rookies. They're going to impact the 2020 NFL season. Players you need to know about. Starting with one of our favorite websites here on the left, and they're called fantasypros.com. If you get a chance, you need to check these guys out. They help me win championships every year, and they'll help you too. On the right side of your screen is another great website, fantasyfootballcalculator.com. This is the website I use to do mock drafts on, and I always take in this thing behind me now. It's called an average draft position sheet or an ADP sheet. It determines over maybe 1,000 drafts the order in which players are going to be picked. So it gives me an idea of what rounds to take players in. Today, we're looking at the rookie impact players. They're going to affect the 2020 NFL season. And we're going to start with our tier 1 guys. And it starts over here, starting with Clyde EdwardsHelaire at number 1, number 2, Jonathan Taylor, number 3, J.K. Dobbins, number 4, DeAndre Swift, all running backs. Then here we are going to take a look at some of these rookies. The first rookie that Fantasy Pros thinks is going to be a top rookie impact player for 2020 is Clyde EdwardsHelaire, a running back out of LSU that got drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round of this year's NFL draft. Okay, as you can see here, we got some Clyde EdwardsHelaire highlights for you guys to look at. This is a game against Ole Miss where he had a big game, and you can see he's got a lot of speed. These highlights also include him catching a lot of passes. This is a good running back, easily score from the goal line. He's got a lot of power and a lot of speed. That's why the Kansas City Chiefs took him. If you want to know some stats on this guy, junior running back Clyde EdwardsHelaire in 2019 with LSU in the SEC, where he won a national championships with Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson and some of the other first-round picks that were taken in that NFL draft. He played 15 games. He rushed for 215 times for over 1,400 yards and 16 TDs. And the reason why the Kansas City Chiefs took him in the first round, he's not only a good runner with a lot of speed, and as you can see here, when he gets around the goal line, he finds the end zone. But the thing that's impressive about him that you won't find in too many running backs is he caught 55 receptions for 453 yards and 1 TD to cap off his senior season, the first round pick of the Kansas City Chiefs college career. He is a handcuff to running back Damian Williams. So if you're going to take Clyde EdwardsHelaire, we definitely suggest you pick up Damian Williams. We're in the middle of May. We'll show you the date here right now. This is when we're taping this. They haven't played any football. This guy doesn't even know what a pro football locker room looks like, Yet, you can see over here, Fantasy Football Calculator has him projected to go in the 4th round of many drafts. He hasn't even been declared the starter in Kansas City, and the starter in Kansas City is this guy, Damian Williams. The rookie's going 3 rounds before the starter. Not sure that's a good idea. Rookies have a tendency to not play well their first year in the NFL. But we like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going to have a big year, but he might not start the season as the starter on the Kansas City Chiefs. Damian Williams is suspected to be the starter, and he's a pretty good player, so we'll have to see how that all pans out. The next guy on our list right here is Jonathan Taylor. Okay, here we are taking a look at one of college's best running backs in 2019, and these highlights are of junior running back Jonathan Taylor. He had a 3-year career with the Wisconsin Badgers in the Big Ten, where he rushed for about 6,174 yards and a whopping 50 TDs. That's about a 2,000-yard average, so that's pretty good. In his career there, he also had 42 receptions for 968 yards and another 5 TDs to cap off his 3-year career. He was the 2nd-round pick of the Indianapolis Colts, and he's the handcuff to another really good running back for the Colts in Marlon Mack. And you can see him right here. He's expected to go in the 6th round at this point on the average draft position sheet. And the starter for the Indianapolis Colts is this guy, Marlon Mack. As you can see, they're not sure which one's going to be the starter. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Taylor. I think you'll see him move up into here, especially if he's considered the starter. He could be a 3rd or 4th round pick. He's going to have a big year behind a great offensive line, but Marlon Mack's no slouch. He's in a contract year, and I expect him to want to produce also. So keep an eye on those 2 players. The next guy I want to show you is a really good player out of Ohio State, J.K. Dobbins. In his 3 years with OSU, he played in the Big Ten. He rushed for 4,459 yards with a whopping 38 touchdowns. And in his career, he had 71 receptions for another 796 yards and 5 more TDs to cap off his college career for the Buckeyes. He was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 2nd round of this year's draft in 2020, and he plays behind this guy right here, Mark Ingram. You can see Mark Ingram's expected to be a 4th round draft choice in many fantasy football leagues according to this average draft position sheet, and you can see down here J.K. Dobbins isn't going till the 10th round. That's good value. So if you take Mark Ingram here, you should take his handcuff, J.K. Dobbins. I'm a big fan of taking people's handcuffs at running back. Just like Jonathan Taylor, you should take Marlon Mack. And just like taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you should come down here and take Damian Williams. Regardless who the starter is, you should take their handcuff because that's how you win championships. If one gets hurt, you got their backup. And that's a big deal in fantasy football, and I only do it at running back, and you should too. Let's take a look at this last running back right here, DeAndre Swift. He had a 3-year career in the SEC with the University of Georgia. The University of Georgia has put out a lot of good running backs, and this guy's learned from some good ones. As you can see here, he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's very elusive. He rushed for, in 3 years at Georgia, 2,885 yards with 20 TDs. He had 73 receptions for 666 yards. He had 5 more TDs, catching the ball to cap off his college career for the Georgia Bulldogs. He was drafted by the Detroit Lions in the 2nd round, and he's the handcuff for an injury-prone Kerryon Johnson. And the starter is Kerryon Johnson right here. You can see he's going at the end of the 6th round because in a snake draft it goes down round 6, up round 7. And you can see over here DeAndre Swift isn't going to the 8th round. Detroit does like to run the ball. That's what the coach likes to do. They got a good quarterback, good wide receivers. Only question is, are these guys going to be the goal line back? They do got a back up there that likes to run the ball around the goal line, so it could be interesting. Might be a situation you want to avoid. But DeAndre Swift is going to be the man after this year because Kerryon Johnson also is in a contract year. So those are your top 4 rookies that are going to be taken probably in some sort of order in any rookie draft. It'll be those 4, 1 through 4. And I really like them a lot. Make sure you get the handcuffs. We talked about Kerryon Johnson being the handcuff to DeAndre Swift. J.K. Dobbins is the handcuff to Mark Ingram. Jonathan Taylor's the handcuff to Marlon Mack. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the handcuff to Damian Williams. So if you have those guys drafted on your team, you need to get these rookies in there, and you'll be okay at running back all year because these guys are going to impact fantasy football for years to come. People can put too much emphasis on drafting rookies early. I would highly suggest you don't reach on them in your fantasy drafts because they have a tendency not to produce. They're going to be good players. I really like Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We'll see if the other 2 can do anything. But let's take a look at the other 2 I really like in this year's class. Okay, here we are back looking at our Tier 2 rookies that are going to impact fantasy football in the 2020 NFL season. And that's these guys from 7 through 13 and beyond. We're starting with Cam Akers. He had a 3-year career with Florida State. He was highly recruited out of high school, and I would just say it was a decent career, but he's got a lot of good highlights. He can run the ball and catch the ball, as you can see here. He had 2,875 yards rushing over his career with 27 TDs. He also had another 69 receptions for 486 yards, and he had put up 7 TDs, and he was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams in the 2nd round, and he's the handcuff to either Malcolm Brown or last year's hyped rookie Darrell Henderson. So be careful with this guy. He's probably going to go higher than most people should take him, but that's the way it is with some of these rookies. This kid looks like he's got the stuff, as you can see here, and I think he's going to have a great career. If you look over here, right here is Cam Akers on the average draft position sheet. This kid was highly recruited running back out of high school. He went to Florida State and didn't produce. He kind of produced, but not like he was expected to. He was on some poor teams, but he went to the Rams. He's got some Malcolm Brown ahead of him and Darrell Henderson, who was one of these rookie phenoms drafted about this spot where he was last year, who didn't produce. Well, that doesn't mean Darrell Henderson can't play football, and it doesn't mean Malcolm Brown can't play football. But Cam Akers is considered on the average draft position sheet to be the next rookie to go after Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There's some risk involved here because he might not pan out this year. Probably going to do okay down the road, but there's so much to learn. It's a huge risk taking him, playing behind an average to poor offensive line in Los Angeles. They're going to have to throw the ball in LA to compete on it. Their defense is average now. They lost a lot of good players. So I'd be careful with him. That's why Pros has him ranked at number 7. I'm not sure how he'll do this year, but we'll see. He's definitely high on people's lists because of where he got drafted. I'm not so sure. I got to see him play football first. The next guy I want to show you is not these guys right here, but the next one on the list over here, which is this guy, Keyshawn Vaughn. Okay, here we are taking a look at junior running back Keyshawn Vaughn. He had a 4-year college career with both the Illinois team and Vanderbilt team. The former Big Ten and SEC running back rushed for a 3,296 yards and 30 TDs. He also, in his career, had 66 receptions for another 648 yards, and he managed to score 3 TDs in catching those passes. And to cap off his 4-year college career for both Illinois and Vanderbilt. And as you can see here, the kid can run the ball and he can catch the ball. He's got some good speed. He was the 3rd round draft pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's the handcuff to Ronald Jones. So be careful with this guy. It may take him some time to develop. He's another one that I would really worry about drafting, and if you take him in a rookie league, it just really depends on whether or not they sign another running back. There are a lot of good veteran running backs out there. It's the middle of May. We'll show you that date again. And there's a good chance that running backs like Devontae Freeman could sign in Tampa, or LaShawn McCoy is out there. There are just other veteran running backs that are available. And I wouldn't be surprised if they signed a veteran running back. If that happens, Keyshawn Vaughn would definitely move down the average draft position list. And you can see they have him ahead of DeAndre Swift and Dobbins and Jerry Jeudy, but it's because of where he was drafted. And he's right here on the ADP sheet. So, okay, there you have it. In summary, those are just a small sample of some of the impact rookies that are going to probably help you win championships in fantasy football this year or for years to come. If you want to know more about these rookies, just come on over here and check out these videos under the 2020 Impact Dynasty rookie position players at running back, quarterback, and wide receiver, because we bust down all these guys and what they did in college, and that'll really help you decide who you like now that you know where they're going to play professional football, because the draft is over. The NFL draft is over. It was a month ago. We're in the middle of May. Taking rookies is always high risk, high reward kind of thing. There were a bunch of rookie busts last year. They're going to have big years this year. They're probably going to be better players than some of these rookies we mentioned today. So make sure you keep an eye out on your 2nd year and 3rd year players, because those are the guys that are really going to bust out this year. Knowing who is coming into the league every year is one of the reasons why I win championships in fantasy football. I'm Buster Brown. The show is called Redemption Rehab. Good luck.